What's up, guys? Welcome to Bogey Ball Society, episode 2. That's right. We've already done one. This is the second one.
The deuce.
Join us for a quick... The deuce. Join us for a discussion where we talk about the status of our games and what we've got planned for the offseason, what we're thinking about going forward, and how we think we can get better. Hope you enjoy it. We'll see you on the flip side.
All right, welcome back to the Bogey Ball Society. We're in episode 2. Fellas, how you doing?
Doing well.
Doing great. Thank you for asking.
You finished that last swallow first? What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. Now I'm great. Right.
So we're Hayes, Jason, Matt, and Bryan, but we got to be careful we're not more affiliated with the handicaps. So we talked about it before. We got a 6.3, a 7.1, an 8, and a 16. But we should probably now start talking about... Yeah, Jason's getting there, buddy. He just said he went from a 30 to a 16 in 1 year. So imagine when he catches up to you next year, you know? But I think it's time we now talk about, like, what is it about our games that's holding us back? What do we do well? What needs some work? Or, you know, should we just give the game up and go play tennis instead? Where are we at?
I think I'd be worse at tennis.
Yeah.
The pickleball's all the rage right now, anyway.
And I don't get it. It's just lazy tennis. Is it not? I mean, really.
Hayes has way too much competitive juice to play pickleball.
Absolutely true. Now, I say that. I'm sure it's much harder than it looks, et cetera, but it just looks so lazy.
I don't know if you have seen any of the professional circuit pickleball, but it is extreme. I remember thinking, like, you know, pickleball, I could be a pro pickleball player. Like, I played baseball in college. I'm an athletic dude. I could play pro pickleball. So I YouTubed pro pickleball, and I cannot play pro pickleball. So
Really?
if you are looking for something to see,
Okay.
these guys are, and gals, not just guys, they're freaks.
There is a video of a volley back and forth.
I'm not kidding.
Like, is there drug
He's
test
not
before
kidding.
the pickleball match?
I don't know. Should be. But it's impressive what they can do.
Does anyone know why it's called pickleball? What the hell is it? Where's the pickle? That's twice now.
It's a really good...
Sorry, son.
That's a really...
Earmuffs, Grant.
Really good question. Tell you what, let's circle back and pretend we're not on computers right now and we can't Google it. And we'll circle back next episode and we'll have the answer to why is it called pickleball. Ooh, fun callback to episode 1. We'll know the etymology of pickleball.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Absolutely.
I saw... So I was just... I'll tell you...
Maybe we should focus.
No. We're changing track. It's now a pickleball podcast. Sorry.
Sweet.
It took one episode for us to realize we've exhausted our golf talk. It's all pickleball. No, I saw a video of a volley back and forth, and a woman, it was a two on two, but only 2 people were involved, and it was like back and forth, and somehow she volleyed it from here behind her head, like she was moving this way, and the ball went that way, and she hit it that way, and it just was one of those moments where I thought that would break my body in half, and it was no big deal, like it was just like, oh yeah, wow, it was incredible. This is going to get cut. We can clearly see that this topic.
Yes. Yeah.
Nope.
Tough to relate. Yeah.
Okay,
Strange.
quick. Everybody act like somebody just said something funny and then go Hayes.
So anyway, there I was, standing in the right rough as normal. And see, you like the segue there? That's brilliant.
It was a perfect segue.
That's great.
It's perfect.
That's Hayes' problem beyond, you know, the occasional tendency to talk in the third person. I'm having a really, really hard time getting off the tee this year. When I find the fairway, the irons have been pretty solid. The PXG irons in the bag, I'm loving them. They really helped out. Wedges around the green, I'm very confident in my chipping. But then when it's time to putt, not putting so well either. So there's a lot of I'm saving. I tend to have a decent amount of birdie opportunities, and I just don't convert any of them. And so my good rounds have been 75, 76. My bad rounds have been 83, 84. And again, if I can find a fairway, I'm very comfortable with my greens and reg rate right now, but I'm just all over the place. And a lot of it has to do with a lesson. I started taking some lessons, and the lessons have definitely helped me improve, but I feel like I'm two different swings, and I don't know which one is going to show up that day. Old swing or new swing. New swing finds fairways. Old swing is just confused because there's elements of new swing in it, and I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, it's been a struggle. And like I said, I'm playing tomorrow. I had to warn Ben by text, like, hey, I don't know which haze is showing up, buddies, but it'll be a good time.
Where are you taking lessons? You taking in person or you taking online?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So I took my first lesson was my first lesson was on Skillist. The instructor's name is Trey Mullins, and we'll have Trey on in a couple episodes. If you look up Trey Mullins on Instagram, the dude is like an inch taller than me, maybe 10 pounds heavier than me, and he is reaching like 200 mile per hour plus ball speeds, 140 mile per hour club head speeds, like crazy numbers. And he's on Skillist. So I took a Skillist lesson from him, and he lives and he teaches in person 5 hours south of me in Knoxville, Tennessee, near where my daughters live. So I took an in-person lesson with him. And then I've taken another Skillist, and I'm going back for an in-person lesson in November. So we've got a hybrid thing going, and I got to tell you, I think he's very excited to work with me. I think he sees a lot of potential, a lot of greatness. He's pretty popped up.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he probably says that to all of his all of his students.
Yeah. I do wonder that sometimes will there ever be a teaching professional that'll just tell the student, "Here's your money back. I can't help you. This is the wrong sport for you. You should play pickleball."
See, I don't think they would do that, because those are the people that just continue to pay money whether or not they get better
and buy new clubs. Oh wait, that's me.
Yeah. I had a series of lessons a few years ago. So I had broken 100, could not break 90. I kept shooting 91 or 92. And then I would go back and look at in my head, all of the holes or all the putts that I lipped out, or all the chips that I duffed, or, you just start to live in the past. And I couldn't break through. And I found a local guy who sold a 6-pack of lessons for $300, which it still seems impossibly cheap. Now, granted, this is 2 years ago, but it was a crazy deal. Everybody else around me was $100 minimum for an hour. And this was 6 hours for $300, which, if you're challenged at math, is $300 an hour, which is pretty good. So, yep, that was terrible. Anyway,
$50 an hour.
Yeah. Joke about me being bad at math. Yeah.
No, I got it. Yeah.
I saw a lot of confused looks, and I thought maybe I didn't quite sell that one.
I saw what you did there, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. Don't do it again. The first 3 lessons, we didn't do anything other than him try to get me to turn my hips, because I was shifting so badly backwards and then forwards that the bottoming out of my club was never at the same spot. So me hitting a flush shot was more fluke than anything else. I played baseball my whole life growing up. And whatever I was doing, it was like I was, shifting my weight back to wait for the pitch, and then trying to hit it by swinging forward. And, so it was a lot of very uncomfortable hands on hips, his hands on my hips, and he even said, "You may not love this." And I was like, "I can tell already I don't." And then, but his hands on my hips to like literally physically turn my hips, because it was such a foreign idea of like, that is the golf swing. It's not shifting this way. And then for those of you not watching on camera, I'm moving all over the place. But it took 3 lessons to get me to even feel what was remotely correct. And I think 3 months after my last lesson, I broke 90 for the first time, and then I I broke 80 shortly after. So I'm a big believer in lessons, whether they be online or in person. I'm kind of can't wait to go back, except he just took a new job as the head golf instructor at a golf club. So I'm guessing he's no longer 6 lessons for him.
He's out of your financial stratosphere now.
He sure is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nice,
as I sip my cheap bourbon.
It's funny you say that though. So Trey did the same thing. Trey put his hands on my hips. I got a little uncomfortable for just a moment. But the thing about
really
the
liked it
is,
for it.
Right. Like, oh, do that again. I hit a good shot.
Exactly.
But you're not kidding though. Like I've always, without fail, feel and real are not the same thing. And you will think to yourself, I'm doing this. My hips are turning. And then a good instructor will get you on camera or, show you on film or on tape. No, you're not, or you're not doing it enough, or you're going about it the wrong way. It's amazing how many people will try to learn, people will try to learn a golf swing from YouTube and Golf Digest tips. And I'm not saying everybody has to get instruction all the time, but man, you can really go down some wrong paths trying to dig it out of the dirt and doing it yourself.
Yeah, I think, instruction in person or online comes down to the individual as much as the trainee as much as the trainer. So I think instruction comes down a lot to a personal learning preference as well. So whether someone does better with a hands-on instructor or you're more of a visual person, I tend to learn more from seeing myself do something either correct or wrong. So we have a great head pro at our club, does not use any sort of recording or film for lessons. You just go and he works you through drills and puts you in different positions, and that's great. But I do feel that I benefit more from seeing myself. So much like after he had mentioned Skillest, and this was back a while ago, I jumped on Skillest. And I found an instructor out of the UK who was offering a free swing analysis, essentially. And I had not done anything with it before, but I had developed a golfer's worst fear as the season was beginning this year, which was a case of the shanks, and I won't say that word again. But it was something that had me questioning whether or not I was actually going to play golf this year. It was rough. And so I recorded some videos. I sent them to him. And after trying to watch it myself and figure out what I was doing wrong, and I could see nothing, he analyzed the 2 different swings side by side. And in 9 minutes, I could see what I was doing wrong. I made a couple adjustments and I was finding the club face again. So that really sold it to me. Now, I didn't do any lessons throughout the season because once the year starts, time play is limited. So I'm trying to play without changing too much throughout the year. My off season is rapidly approaching, and I will be working with this coach through the winter. His name's Jeff Wright. Again, he's out of the UK. Gets very solid reviews on Skillest, very affordable package prices for 2 lessons a month and unlimited support. And I'm really excited. I think part of my big, we touched on it last episode. I went from that 30 range at handicap down to the mid-teens. I think a lot of that had to do with properly fit equipment because I had never done that before. So I broke 90 for the first time last year. Instead of being, 102, 98, 99, 107, I was able to break 90, get into the high 80s, and it kind of stalled. So I attribute a lot of that, I think, more to equipment and playing a bit more than I had in the past. Now that I have the right equipment, which I'll be getting a change in that pretty soon here too. Now it's developing the skills to target what Arcos tells me I am losing the most strokes at.
All right, so I have a question for you. That's just as a follow-up. So Skillest. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm getting because I'm unfamiliar. So Skillest or Skillist? Like skill list?
EST.
What am I?
Skill EST.
EST. Yep. Skillest. Okay, great. Sorry, you guys both said it, and I was like, I'm totally out of the loop out of this. Okay. So then also you talked
everybody's
about
doing it.
I know. I'm very out of the loop. I feel dumb. So you talked about properly fit equipment. So I feel like this is a thing that I know all of us have gone through where we played stuff that we either secondhand or purchased off the rack or whatever.
Yep.
Why do you think, Jay, it made such a difference for you? Like, what were you playing before, and then before you got fit, and then into the equipment that you were? Why did that make such a difference for you?
Yeah, well, so I'm 6'4". I'm not short. I had, prior to last year again, I bought clubs solely based on advertising, and I have
That
no
felt
shame in
really
saying
just
that.
really directed, Jason. I just want to say that felt directed
It's all good.
at Bryan.
That was a very pointed statement.
It was
Yes.
very pointed. You looked at him somehow, and you guys aren't in the same location. Somehow you found him and just
Felt it. I felt
Sometimes you got to speak to somebody's soul without intentionally hurting them.
yeah. Okay, continue. Sorry. Okay,
But no.
so you're not short.
I'm not short. I'm on the taller side of things. So I had never been fit for clubs, and I had always played TaylorMade clubs because when I started golfing in college after I stopped playing baseball, the big push on ads was TaylorMade and Callaway, and for whatever reason, I decided Callaway stuff was not any good, and I didn't want to play it. But I loved Dustin Johnson, and DJ played TaylorMade clubs, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy an R11S, and I'm going to drive it really good, and I'm going to do this, that, or otherwise. So prior to the current clubs in my bag, I had a set of TaylorMade RSI 1s, nice clubs. Found out eventually they were like 1.5 inches over standard, which is too long. So I currently play +1. Before those, I had a set of TaylorMade Rocket blades going back into the early 2010s.
Nice.
With a Z, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
balls
cool.
here.
Right.
Yes, Rocket balls, IER. IER. So those were off the rack, and I thought, okay, like
Marketing
these are going to make me
geniuses.
play better. And it just never did. And I also didn't play a lot of golf. So, I got more invested in the forum, participated in the Cobra Challenge last year, got fitted with a Cobra rep. So, I got wrist to floor measurements and tried some different shafts and found out that I needed to play, not only did I have to play clubs that were an inch over standard, I had to play irons that were 3 degrees upright. So that in and of itself just, I think, made a huge difference in my ball striking, because now instead of smashing the toe into the ground and forcing the face open and missing everything further left than it goes down range and down the fairway, I can keep balls more in a respectable area to play.
We should mention if he's going to be talking about hitting balls left and right, that he plays from the wrong side of the golf ball. I don't think we mentioned that yet.
Yep, I didn't
That's
mention
true.
that yet either. I do play from the, as many people like to tell me, I play golf from the wrong side of the ball. And if I played from the right side of the ball, maybe I'd be a scratch golfer and I'd be in the tour. But some things just
Try it.
You got to buck the trend sometimes, and someone's got to do
Listen,
it. And so I've taken that mantle.
Well, it's why we asked you
Jay,
to be on the
if-
podcast, Jason. You got to have a
right.
representative.
You got to balance it out, lefty
Yeah.
gang.
If God loved you, he'd have made you righty.
Right.
Right. My dad was
It's okay.
left-handed, but they actually slapped his hand. They fixed him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no kidding.
My
Right.
father too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Catholic
but
school.
I think when I was going to school, I think that was called child abuse, and I think they had to stop doing that.
Right. Can you imagine? Like, if my kid came home and they slapped my hand because I was using the wrong hand. I'm like, what?
But fully 50% of the people on this call had parents that had that happen to them. That's
Yeah, it's
impressive.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Man.
Let's
Those were the good
let's
old
talk about
days.
our mothers. Let's go real quick. Let's get real deep. Tell me about your mother.
I'm gonna pass
Ooh.
on that, and
Yeah,
and,
this got
and I'll
dark.
talk about my
Right.
my lesson experience, which is greatly different than the three of you guys. So I guess I buck the trend. I don't really take lessons. I never really have taken lessons. I am that guy that watches a lot of YouTube videos and tries to take a little bit out of every video. Growing up, I always struggled slicing the ball, fading the ball. And really what changed it for me and what helped me get better was focusing less on the mechanics of the swing and really just paying attention to what happens when I hit the ball. What did the ball do? And I'd start paying attention to, did I hit it on the start line that I wanted to? Great. I know my path is okay or my face is okay? Or is it going wildly left or right and just kind of trying to be an athlete and make a change to make the ball do something different? And that has really helped my game a lot. But I'm sure that I could still use some tweaking and stuff with actual help.
I don't want to interrupt because I love that, but especially the be an athlete thing. I think because if I'm not mistaken, all of us played another sport before we found golf. But you do record your swing, right? You do. So because you are, I've seen your swing, and other than the one time we played together on the outing, you have a launch monitor or something where you're recording your swing. So you are looking at your swing and trying to figure out mechanics. You're just not necessarily hiring a professional to also analyze that.
Yeah. I'm like,
sure.
I guess I'd be more looking to make sure that, not that it's aesthetically pretty, but to like make sure that nothing's wildly off, right?
Yeah.
Like if something looks wildly off, then I would.
How much golf do you watch in an average week?
I don't think I can answer that if my employer might watch this video. No. I mean, I probably, if I'm working on something, I might have a YouTube video playing for audio in the background or something like that. So,
because I know for me, I try to watch anything I can that's televised. It's usually just listening to it because I'm usually working during the day. But in off time, I'm watching Bob Does Sports or Foreplay or one of the other many incredible golf content channels. I feel like I watch a lot of golf, and when I see my swing, all I do is compare it to somebody else's, and that has not helped me comparing my swing to somebody else's because my swing is mine. And it's one of the things I loved about working with a coach was he was not interested in changing my swing except getting me in the right positions. Like once your hips are here, then your hands fall here, and if your hands are here, then they fall. Like it was a chain reaction, and I just really appreciated that it wasn't so much like Hoppy Rory, which I can't do.
Yeah.
I'm too old and too stiff.
You're too tall.
You're
much too tall.
I'm way too tall, and I'm way shorter than Tolly McGee down there. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting thing that I remember hearing somebody talking about Scheffler. Sorry, it wasn't about Scheffler. It was about Matt. Is it Matt Fox? What's his name with the?
Oh, Matt Wolf.
Matt Wolf. Thank you.
The crazy
different
takeaway.
different
animal.
Different animal.
Dog.
Different spirit animal.
Bear,
It's a fox,
panther,
a cat,
cougar.
or a dog. Bear. Yes, exactly. just say what you think. Doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. But they talked about I think George Genkus was his coach, and he never once told him, don't swing like that. It was not at all the goal. The goal was not to change his swing to look like anybody else's. It was to make his swing most effective for him. I love that. I love that idea. So when you watch your video, are you at all worried about like, I want it to be more of this or more of that, or are you just trying to make sure that nothing's out of the?
No, for the last probably 2 years, I'm really mainly focused on just what's happening to the golf ball in the flight and what am I trying to do to change that. Like this year, I've had a lot of lefts with the golf ball, just low shots, especially off the tee. That's been the worst part of my game so far this year. And I may have identified part of it down to equipment and part of it down to just like my grip had over the time gotten too strong. So I'm really working on weakening my lead hand and just going up there, and I just keep saying to myself, hit a cut until, really trying to hit it out right and kind of refine the balance there.
It's just interesting because we're two very different schools of thought. Like, so if I settle on an instructor and I'm going to get lessons, I avoid YouTube or any sort of hints or stuff like that. I avoid it like the plague. Because I just feel like, I mean, and Matt kind of spoke to it, like, that's not my swing, right? So, yeah, what Rory McIlroy does is really impressive, but I can't do that. So why would I try to emulate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just funny
I've got
that we two very different paths. I will tell you, though, at Sand Valley, when we go, every time you hit a shot, I'm going to be leaning over to whomever's next to me and go like, yeah, that guy needs some lessons. This isn't going to go well.
It's
Yeah.
probably true.
All right.
No, but
I've gotten into that headspace as well.
Yeah. So speaking of Sand Valley, so we are planning a trip. The moderator staff, the forum staff, are planning a trip to Sand Valley, which Jason is very excited about because he is chaperoning us to and from his house because we're all staying in his basement. Which surprise!
Yes.
still
Okay, I
really
forgot
looking
to tell
forward
you.
to that slumber party.
Yeah, no,
We're
it's all
saving a little bit of scratch by all staying with you.
good.
Yeah.
But
I like a lot of fresh fruit around the house.
Huh? Yeah,
That shouldn't be a problem.
It's a lie.
mostly
That's a
mostly
lot.
That's not true.
bananas. We don't. Well, let's not
I'm gonna need a
dig
steak.
in too deep there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyway, we are planning an outing for the staff to get together and just play together and get out because we talk to each other a lot. Like we've become really good friends over our communication stuff, but it's rare that we get a chance to actually see each other. We're all in different time zones and different locations, so we are planning an outing at Sand Valley. We won't tell you exactly when, just to make it exciting and interesting, and also so you don't just try to show up and grab a foursome.
Say friend or arch nemesis in the case of Bryan, right? Like, I like Bryan, but he's clearly an arch nemesis of some sort.
Competitively.
Yeah.
Someone's got to play that role. You've got to have that relationship.
Yeah. When I'm in the weight room, one more rep because Bryan's laughing at me as I can just hear his voice in my head.
I'm just trying to help build the better you, Hayes.
Right. Yeah. I cry a little inside every time I talk to you. But
It's better that it's a peer and not like a parent that you're trying to, improve. Dad, I'm good enough, right, Dad? Because that's a good, I think it's a good healthy thing when it's a peer that you're just trying to outdo. So, it's nice.
Absolutely. Bryan's motivation, that's all he is. Oh, well, that's not all he is. I shouldn't have said that. That's not fair. You're a lot more than my motivation, Bryan. You're a person yourself with your own hopes and dreams.
Yes. Crushing yours.
That's
So,
right.
Matt,
It's all about crushing yours.
right. Let's move on.
Yes, let's.
Matt, you were telling us the last go around that you're deadly on the greens now, on and around the greens. Fair statement.
Oh man, I wish I would say deadly. I'm averaging around 30 or 31 putts around. I get a lot of rounds where I'm in 26, 27 range, which feels incredible.
Yeah.
And then when I look at the actual stats, it's because I missed a lot of greens and I chipped close. So
Got it. Okay.
I will say just a really fun thing that happened. I went on vacation. I rented a set of clubs, and in the bag was this Rife Answer style putter. Now, I have not used anything other than a lab in 3 years. And so I was genuinely like, I don't know what's going to happen in this round. Like, I don't know if I'm going to miss every putt or make every putt. I don't know what's going to happen. And I made so many more putts than I thought I would make. And I think ultimately it just comes down to I've spent a lot of time over the last 3 years learning how to read greens. And so my putting actually has improved, even though I'm not using this sort of the crutch of the lab, which I really do love. I love it. I love it so much. But it was also very encouraging. Oh, he's got a lab rat. Look at that.
Lab rat.
Brian is wearing a lab rat sweatshirt. For those of you just listening, it's probably the greatest sweatshirt ever made.
It's fantastic. Sure. It really is.
Well, because he talks about it all the time, not because I think it's great, because he talks about it. I think ultimately what getting better at putting helped me do was it allowed me to spend less time practicing putting and more time practicing my chipping, because I was very insecure around the greens. So I would have missed the green by 10 yards, and then I would leave myself 25 feet, which is not good, and then there's no way you're not going to at least two putt 25 feet on an average. You're probably going to be closer to 3. So that helped. And then once I got better around there, I started to kind of move back to 50 and 75 and 100 yards because I had a lot of shots from in there. And so that has helped a lot for sure. I would love to say that from 150 yards in, I'm hitting every green, and that's just statistically untrue. And it's where I know I need to up my game. It's why I'm excited about potentially making a move in my irons category for next year. I'm currently playing like a player's distance iron, which I like. It's well made. It's fit to me. I should be hitting them better. I have a tendency to sort of swipe at the ball and hit a lot of fadey. I lose distance, and then I end up everything is like 10 yards short and right. When I miss hit my irons, when I hit them well, they're fantastic. But I know that's not the iron's fault. It's me. But that's really what we're working on for next year.
You bring up an interesting point there too, Matt, because I am also going to be making a change to the irons in my bag, potentially before this season is over, even though, again, I have about 3 weeks left, but then I'll have a different one to use in the winter.
It's never too late.
But I am squarely in the game improvement stratosphere with a set of Cobra Aero Jets, and I have outgrown those irons. I will hit a 7-iron 170 yards, and then I'll hit one 140 yards. So my Arcos data tells me that I need to significantly improve in my approach. And I miss a lot of greens short. And whether that's because, my swing's still inconsistent, sure. But I don't think that the game improvement aspect of my irons at this point is benefiting me. I feel like I've moved past that level of an iron. So I'm kind of skipping over the player's distance and flirting with a more player style iron with the Cobra King Tour Blacks, which is a big step. But it's one that I think is going to help me refine my game a bit more. And that also is where I see working with someone through the Skillist app could benefit me a lot, because I have rounds where I hit the ball very, very well. It just needs to become a consistent aspect of my game. Like, driving was always my weakness, and that kind of improved. And now it's approach. If I get on a green, 3-putt avoidance I'm pretty good with, but it's those approach shots and missing greens, and not missing them by 5 yards where I have an easy chip. It's missing it 30 to 40 yards short, and then I've got to figure out what kind of wedge swing I need to get the ball close, and then I've got to save a par with 1 putt or a bogey at worst with 2 putts, and that's where the mental side of it comes in. So that's going to be part of my big journey into the 2025 season is, can I take an iron that's pushing the boundaries of where my skill is now, and can I play up to it, and will that bring my handicap down? And that's really what my focus is for 2025.
The only thing I'd say there is I don't know how much you can get caught up in the categories these days. Mm-hmm. They blend together so much.
Yeah, right? They do.
Like it's almost like how each company defines their categories is different from one to the next. Like it's going to sound like I'm saying something negative about PXG, and I'm not. I'm thrilled with these irons. The 0311 Gen 7 Ps, they advertise them and they call them a player's iron. I think they're more like player's distance. They've got a lot of help in terms of the goo inside and the tungsten and all that stuff. I just think they're more player's distance. So, game improvement, player's distance, players, I don't know that it actually means anything anymore, and it happens on tour too. Like Jordan Spieth is hitting like, he's never played like a blade. He's a PGA Tour level ball striker, right? It's just whatever works for you, whatever fits.
Hayes, what is the loft of the 7-iron that you play? In the P, do you know? Because
I don't know. I know my wedge. So like my pitching wedge is a 44. I can't recall the 7-iron. Yeah.
I think it's around.
It's okay. I'm guessing 32
32.
or 33. I'm guessing it's somewhere in that
Probably.
range. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that
Same.
ultimately ends up being how they dictate what category it goes into, right? So my 7-iron is 30.5 degrees. Let's just call it 30. My game
Sure.
improvement irons that I came from before were 28. That was a very strong lofted. Jay, I'm guessing your 7-iron is very close to that, if not even, maybe even stronger. Mine is 27.5.
My current 7-iron is 26.5.
Yes.
So it plays more like a
Right.
4 to 5 iron. And
That's
where
right.
that causes problems for me is even like a well-struck shot is a missile. It looks great. It's super cool. It goes too far or it does not stop on the green. So I can land a 7-iron, and I've done it. I did it this last year. I landed a 7-iron 3 feet from the hole, and I had a 22-foot putt on a par 3 to try to get back for birdie because the ball just doesn't stop. So the King Tours, the 7-iron is 33 degrees. And I know this off the top of my head because I've been looking at them every day. But I think that's going to make just a huge difference in terms of stopping power, where I can try, if I need to hit greens. So I'm going to try to probably take an approach early 2025 or throughout the year of just getting the middle number and hitting to the middle and knowing if it's a little long, I'm okay. If it's a little short, I'm okay. And I'm still putting.
Word of advice: go for the middle back number.
Middle back. There we go.
It works.
Yeah. Well, middle short. Yeah. Then you're kind of screwed. But
So I for whatever this is worth, I have started playing back number because I've noticed statistically, right, that we all have this data all at our fingertips now. I was missing, and 98% of golfers miss short, just for what it's worth. That's everybody's miss. Nobody misses long. Nope. It's the rare exception when somebody misses long. And so I just started playing one more club than I thought I might need, because I used to say my 8-iron is 160 yards because it was when I hit it well. But when I didn't hit it well, which is 50 or 60% of the time, I was hitting at 150 yards. And so what I started to do was play one more club. So I thought 8-iron was 160. I would hit a 7-iron. And if I hit it well, I was only 5 yards, maybe 15 feet, right past the pin. But if I hit it a little shy, I was pin high. So it has really changed those irons in particular, if that helps you at all. But it's one of the reasons I am also looking at a slightly less players distance and kind of more players, I don't know, cavity back, something like that. Also, ego is slightly involved. I'm not going to lie.
Always.
I want to play a cooler iron so bad. I went to a PXG fitting just for fun, and I hit the blades way better than I should have. It was like a really bad trick for my brain where I was like, I could play cavity backs? Oh my God. And then, I still can't really hit my irons the way I should. I just think it's a constant chase. We're constantly chasing the newer, better thing. And I'm trying to tell myself, be careful about wishing for new things before you master the thing that you have. And I think that's probably every one of us here, and every person that will ever listen to this is guilty of the same thing. And I'm still going to change my irons. I'm not saying I'm going to learn that lesson today or tomorrow, but it's something that I'm aware of, at least, where like, if I could hit these perfectly, then moving there's no reason to move. The only reason I'm thinking about it is because I think the turf interaction with the irons that I have is not ideal. And I'm a little bit steep on my attack, and I tend to get things stuck, which is why I think I'm losing a little bit of distance sometimes, not all the time. But anyway, this is the reason we have this thing, is because we could talk about the shit. I'm sorry. I think this is the reason we have
earmuffs.
Yeah. Earmuffs. I think this is the reason we have this conversation. It's easy to say. You just say earmuffs, then you do it. It's no problem. But anyway, this is the kind of stuff that I could talk about all day. It's my favorite conversation of how can we get better? is it actually going to make us better? And I don't know. And it's kind of the fun part.
Well, one takeaway that stands out from Jason's example, though, that if anyone listening is thinking about getting new clubs, be careful when you go into the fitting. Don't just pay attention to the distance, right? Anybody can win like on one shot. If the ball is not going to spin and stop with the right descent angle, it's not a good club to have in the bag.
Oh.
So many people will just buy it because they hit them so far, and that at some point you're hitting it too far.
Quick note. I did the audit on the 7-iron loft of the Gen 7 piece that you're playing there. It's 30 for the 7-iron in case, we have angry commenters in the comment section, saying that we're wrong.
Yeah.
It's happening live, and we haven't even posted this yet. That's right.
I just lost my golf nerd bona fides for that one. I didn't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's okay. We were thinking of the SMS Pro irons that you were playing beforehand. Is 32.
Yeah, but I had those Bennett degrees strong though.
You did?
Yeah.
And you had those light whippy shafts in there, and you still couldn't hit it past me. Huh?
Yeah, that was not a good easy, buddy. I don't know if that's accurate.
Wow.
Those fighting words. It's time to wrap this up. I'm gonna go hit the gym.
All right. So what's our takeaway here? So lessons, obviously, 3 out of 4 podcasters approve. Lessons.
And then
are
Bryan's
valuable.
just a naturally gifted athlete who doesn't need no stinking lessons.
Yeah, it must be nice
it's
to just
handicap.
have natural God-given talent.
I
Well,
think
it's
we
because
need
I'm so
subtitle-
short. There's not a lot to go wrong in
Boat of the
the
earth.
swing.
Right. Less can go wrong.
Well, listen. Historically, the hobbits were very good at golf. So that's just true. It's just true.
Right.
It's just
Bryan's irons were made in the mountains of Mordor.
That's right.
Yeah,
Forged in the fire of the eye.
Right.
That's right.
One
started-
over speed zone 5 wood to rule them all.
I started to get better at golf when I took my son's set out. So that was the real change for
Right.
That's right. Hey, this
I
thing.
don't think we should
fit.
make short
This
jokes
is
every podcast. So
every podcast.
I mean, I don't know. I think lesson takeaways, I think it just goes to show that it varies by everybody. But I think as long as you're doing something to try and get better, like there is no point, like in me, I don't have a launch monitor, so I'm not going to get data throughout the winter. But there's no point in me going in my garage and just swinging to swing and having no idea and no feedback as to whether or not I'm improving.
right.
Because if you're not
Feedback
doing
is important.
something to improve, you will not get better. I did that for years and I didn't get better. And it's like, well, this is so frustrating. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure by not taking the steps. So if you are serious about improving and you don't know how to do it on your own, there are tons of coaches and you can spend as much money as you want or as little money as you want on coaching. You've got to find somebody you click with, and then you go from there and you trust that they will help you to improve your game.
right, you need to be willing to if you'd share an apartment with them, they'd be a good coach. That's like a good metric right there.
I was just going to say this is the perfect time to plug our new sponsor, Fiverr. Fiverr. For when you don't want to spend $50 or $100 on a golf lesson, go to Fiverr. There's probably somebody there who you can spend $5 on, and they'll watch a video, drink a bourbon, and tell you all the things that are wrong with your swing. Fiverr. Thanks, Fiverr. Thanks for sponsoring our show.
Sounds like a plan.
Do you know what Fiverr is? Is that why you don't know
I don't.
what it is? Oh,
No.
Fiverr is literally you pay someone $5 and they will do a task for you. So it's usually artists, or so I want a drawing of a unicorn hitting a golf ball into a rainbow hole-in-one or something. And they will spend $5. They will draw you the thing that you want. They will send it to you, and then you have for $5. Or it's like come change my light bulb. Or it's a ridiculous. It's anything. It's $5.
Like anything. Remember, this is just supposed to be a kid friendly.
Easy. Yeah.
So it's like it's Tinder for life.
And it went off the
daily
rails.
requirements.
It went off the rails at the Fiverr. You know what? We'll do a new sponsor. Inappropriate conversation. Thanks, Inappropriate Conversation, for sponsoring this show.
Sorry. This is just, for a minute, like, I listened to your little spoof read, and I'm like, okay, that's creative. This is a real thing. I had no idea. Did you guys know this? Okay, so
No.
I had heard
the
of
young
it
guy
before.
on the podcast hadn't heard of it either. So it's not like I'm just some old guy that doesn't know. Yeah.
I mean, you
It sounds
are,
like a
but
hippie
also
California thing.
you're not.
All right. I think it's time we wrap this thing up, right? Next time around, we're going to talk about our off-season training plans, kind of what we're going to do to get after this. We've talked a little bit about skills and lessons, but we're gonna dive deep into the madness and all the weird, crazy stuff we're willing to do to shave a stroke off our scores next year. Thanks everybody for listening. Again, you can interact with us at the My Golf Spy forum. You can email us at bogeyballsociety@gmail.com. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, so you did it. You made it through episode 2, The Deuce. Hayes, any highlights of that one for you?
No, I think there's a lot of positive takeaways and a lot of things that I think most any listener can glean. Maybe not they're in the same place as you or I, but maybe they can identify with what Jason's going through or Bryan. So I think there's a lot of value, and we're going to bring more value in future episodes. Next episode, a little bit more on what our off-season plans are, whether it's speed training, the weight room, whatever the case may be. And then we've got some guests lined up that are come leverage their expertise to how to max out your off-season as well.
Yeah, we're super
Thanks for
excited about our guests. We've got some killer episodes coming up. So keep listening. And if you noticed, for those of you that are eagle eyes and or eagle ears, we actually recorded that in 2 separate things because this guy hit a button and deleted the first half. So we went back and re-recorded. Yeah. We're still getting the hang of it, but it's okay. Stick with us. It's going to get better. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Absolutely.